In any case, we this week, hi, it's Lena, how you doing? And this week we were going to continue talking about recovery and cover childhood traumas and the importance of dealing with those.
Yes, it's
So,
very interesting topic though to discuss. And I'm sure everybody can relate to it.
yeah, and I wanted to do a quick summary, just my thoughts on why it's important to deal with these things.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing called the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And the law of attraction states that we continue to attract things of matching dysfunction, people, places, things, situations of matching dysfunction until we heal the parts of ourselves that need them.
Mm-hmm.
And the law of attraction is the way that we manifest things into our lives, good and bad, or what we perceive as good and bad. So if you're trying to attract more into your life, it's important to understand that we're limited by the traumas that we carry. So because traumas create these things called, some people refer to them as limiting beliefs. I'm not
Yes,
good enough. I'm
exactly.
not smart enough. I'm not intelligent enough. These types of things are the result of something traumatic that happened in your past. And I think the trauma itself is wildly misunderstood, that people want to believe that it has something to do with some horrific tragedy. And it doesn't need to be that at all. It could be something as spilled milk. If you spill milk at the dinner table and, people make a lot of noise about it or react poorly, then that experience can traumatize you for life. And you carry this feeling of worthlessness because of a stupid, simple mistake, or not, sorry, even right there, stupid. There's no such thing as stupid.
Yeah,
It's because of a simple human error. And we're meant to make these errors. And if you carry shame about the errors that you've made in your life, then that's something that can be healed through some type of recovery process and increase your ability to attract better things.
right.
So now
Yes,
we had spoken last time. The majority of your clients, you say you're dealing with childhood trauma stuff.
correct. Yes, that is everything is energy as we know it. When we think we our thoughts, it's also energy, and there's nothing wrong with it. We know that everything is energy and it's constantly moving. The thing is the unconscious energy, childhood trauma, for example, like what you said, that something bad happened and there is that inner conversation that will tell the child or the younger version of the self telling, oh, you're not good enough, you're a mess, you cannot do good. And that becomes an imprint, that becomes a program in the subconscious mind. And then no matter how you try, do your best to really do good, but the imprint is still there. So every time there is trigger, it will comes up and it will stopple and then there is always that inner voice that say, oh, you do it again, you screwed up again.
Right.
And it will always connect to the past, to the trauma, unless you're gonna do something about it to delete it, to reprogram the mind, to delete it, to install new beliefs. And that I we mentioned of the last episode, like becoming the loving parent. That is also one way of healing the inner child, because becoming the loving parent, or giving the praise you always wanted, or forgiving the child, like upgrading the child, like telling the child, you are not that child anymore, you're adult now, so you have to live at the present moment, not in the past, because it's not you anymore. Because in the process of that, yeah, it's all that you have to install the new belief. It's like, it's not me anymore, it's not me that did this, the thing, the stupid things, the thing that made you believe that you are not worthy enough for things. So that must be deleted. And because the thing is that is unconscious energy that we are still navigating, but we can detach that. There we go again with the detachment, attachment. So the difference of that. So that's
Right.
the process.
Yeah, you bring up some interesting points. I want to share a screen for this one little visual. Let's see where that button is. Okay, so I'm going to share, and there's Randon. So one of the things that traumatizes us or can potentially traumatize us is actually it has nothing to do with abuse. It could simply
Mm-hmm.
be that we have a mismatch with our parents. For
Mm-hmm.
example, maybe you're a very musical person. There's these nine different types of intelligence, and one of the things is musical and artistic talent. So maybe you're a very musical, artistic person, but the people that you're raised by are very mathematical, logical in their nature.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have within them the type of compassion and empathy and understanding of your natural abilities to give you the encouragement, love, and support that you need in those areas. They might even discourage you, thinking, well, there's from their life experience, they've learned that there's no value in being in the arts, that it's risky and it's not likely that you're going to make an income in that field. And
Mm-hmm.
it could go the other direction too. It doesn't really matter if your caregivers lean towards directions that are not part of who you are, then you can be traumatized by that lack of connection to your caregivers. And I use that term carefully because it doesn't necessarily mean that you were raised by your biological parents. This applies to anybody that you were raised by.
Mm-hmm. Right. That is really very interesting because not many people know where is their place when we say like when you are not appreciated, like we are unique. We have special talents and skills. And like you said, okay, we have to be surrounded with people who understand us, our who are we as a person. But then people are surrounded with wrong people. No, 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 actually, I don't want to use the wrong people. There is no wrong people because it's depends on your own perception and judgment. We have to feel, am I at the right place? Am I surrounded with my people? The people that see my value, because that's the problem. Because like when it comes to toxic relationship, like we discussed before, it's like we think that's the only relationship we deserve, like we can have. So actually, and then we come to blaming because I am with this wrong person because he did not see my worth, he did not see my values. But actually, that is very passive. If you know your worth, if you know that you deserve better, you have to take action instead of staying imprisoned in that situation.
Right. And it's the trauma that keeps you trapped. It's the trauma
Yes.
that even though you know better, this is bad for me, your trauma will give you reasons, excuses, explanations of why you should stay anyway. And so, and in recovery, I sponsor all kinds of people, but I sponsor, frankly, mostly women. And I'm sponsoring a lot of women who have been in abusive relationships. And for me, in that situation, it's a constant throwing myself under the bus because they're telling
Mm.
me about the toxic things that they've experienced with their significant others. And when they bring up those behaviors, I have to admit, I did that too. I've done things like your ex has done, or like your current boyfriend has done. And because I'm on both sides of addiction, I've been, both the addict and the codependent in these situations. I see it with some amount of clarity. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard for us, especially with codependency issues. to break those patterns, because there's a part of us that seems to, long for it, that wants it, that keeps going back into situations. You break off one toxic relationship and you end up in another toxic relationship. Uh,
Mm.
and abandonment doesn't necessarily, abandonment is the cause of codependency, abandonment issues. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean somebody physically abandoned you. They could have been in the room with you at the time, but not emotionally available. And so
Yeah.
that lack of emotional availability will cause us to attract other people who are not emotionally available. you know,
Yes.
and it's not a judgment of whether it's
Right.
good or bad. It's you're attracting people with matching trauma.
Yeah, the thing is, one thing with trauma is always looking for something or someone to blame. I am this because of that. I am this because of her, because of him, because of that. So that is really looking outside. That's why I always tell, choose yourself first. Like, look within. It always start within. And if you feel there is a void, you cannot fill that void from outside source. It's you have to fill it in with your own understanding of yourself. So that's why it is really important to know, who am I really as a person, what I'm capable of, what I'm good at, and what I am worthy of. Do I deserve this? The right question, asking the right question, is really very important to get the proper guidance, the proper answer. Because if you will always say, oh, why is this happening to me? So, and then what kind of picture you are creating in your head? It will start finding the negative things, because you're not good enough, because you are stupid, you failed in many things in life, you don't do good things. So there is an ending list of negativities,
Yep.
instead of asking, what can I gain from this experience? Why I am experiencing this? Why? How can I overcome this? So then, if you ask this kind of questions, the picture will change. Doors will open, opportunities will open. That's why it's also very important asking the right question, because it will lead us to a better answer. Maybe not directly the right answer, but a door that will open another door and getting better. Because if you don't choose yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, you're always looking for something or someone to blame. Why am I experiencing this? Why am I so unlucky in love and in the financial situation? Why? So the biggest why, and that is, it depends where you're gonna direct the why.
Yeah, agreed. A lot of times the why is that we don't really understand the concept of love. Many of the
Mm-hmm.
people I deal with, I see people in recovery groups all the time talking about, oh, I'm in a relationship with an active addict. They're stealing and lying and cheating, and you know they have all these behaviors that are common with addiction. What can I do to help them? The answer is nothing. The answer is you can't help them. If somebody is active in addiction, that means they're in denial and they are, by virtue of that state of mind, unhelpable. So, like you were always emphasizing, choose you first. Make yourself the target of your affections, and then start asking yourself, why do I want to be in a relationship with somebody who's lying, cheating, stealing, and using substances that are harmful? Why do you want to, because healthy people don't want that relationship. They don't want to save somebody else. Healthy people are looking, they take care of themselves, and then they attract somebody else who also has their life together, and then they can together thrive. um, it's saving other people, again, is codependency. It's signs of childhood trauma. And when we have abandonment trauma, that's all we're capable of attracting is more trauma bonding, finding that one person who completes us. If you say you complete me, you're saying now we're both sick as hell.
Yeah, that's why I disagree with like, oh, I have to find my other half.
Yeah.
So meaning you are half finding another half. So because that is your the concept, that is the belief. So you cannot find a whole person who is healed from trauma because you are finding the other half. So you are attracting the other half of a person, and then you come together and you feel the ecstatic, the ecstasy, the euphoria. Oh, this is it. And then what? When you get to know each other, you realize that that something is not perfect. That's something that someone has flaws also that you might not like. So go back to the cycle, go back to square one. So there is no, I don't believe that finding the other half. Become a whole person yourself first, and then share that the whole person share that what you have, the love you have for yourself, for your life, then share, then you attract the same kind of person. And what happened? You are sharing, you are not compensating, you are not feeling any void. So that is a lot better. If you think about it, that is a lot better if you put it in you know, in a picture. So,
Yeah, I had some bad experiences with professionals on these topics. I had a therapist once tell me that there's no bad time to date. Now that I've been in recovery for a number of years, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. There absolutely is a bad time to date. If you've just fresh are coming out of another relationship, you need time to heal. If you are
that.
just freshly recovering from some type of substance abuse, you need time to heal. They recommend, it's a standard in recovery. They say don't make any relationship changes for the first year of your recovery because frankly, you don't even know who you are yet. It's going to take at least
Right.
a year for you to heal enough to realize who you are and what you really want. I'm coming up on 5 years of sobriety, and they say in 5 years you get your marbles back. Well, I'm still working on that. So, you know,
Mm. It's a
another thing,
process.
another
Yeah.
thing that's really common in relationships is if we have physical intimacy early on in the relationship, that creates this element called the cuddle factor. Where
Mm-hmm.
now that you've been physical with somebody, there's this emphasis on romantic love and that's another big dopamine fix that you get when you have sex with another person or you have some type of physical intimacy with that person. And so
Mm-hmm.
the enjoyment that you gain from being physically connected to that person outweighs the negative of all the warning signs telling you that this is not the right person for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you avoided that conflict that connection for several months, they recommend 3 to 6 months to get to know somebody before you have physical intimacy. And if you're willing to make that sacrifice and wait 3 to 6 months, then you'll really get to know who that person is. And you will definitely drastically reduce your tendency to trauma bond and cuddle factor bond with somebody. So getting your physical needs met needs to become secondary to being in a relationship with somebody that you can truly relate to.
Yes, it's really very interesting, but not so many people are aware of that because when they come out from a bad relationship, the most people will start to find another relationship because they want to fill in the space instead of taking the time for themselves to heal. Because if you break up from a relationship, it's not always, not 100%. This is the fault of the other party. You have also something contributed to it. So you have also to really dig it in and focus on yourself, healing why this happens. But most of the time, the easiest way is to find another relationship and to have the dopamine rising up, and of the at the given moment they think, oh, this is it because it feels right, like you said. And then comes to getting to know each other in a deeper sense, And then what happened? That's
Right.
the thing, because this is automatic. This is the autopilot again. So being conscious in everything we do and every small or big decisions we make, that is really very important. But um, like we know, the autopilot is easy. We have just to switch it on and we don't have to work it hard. We don't have to think it hard. It's like we follow the emotions, and it's also um the the perception, the an awareness that we think, oh, this feels good, it must be it. But then you realize, oh, and then it's too late. That's really very interesting to talk about, because many people are aware of it. They just, okay, I just have to live its day to the fullest. And how do you live its day? Like looking for, instant happiness, instant feelings. That's what happened in your relationship, and it feels really great. And then you go physical, and then what's that happen? There is no interesting things anymore to discover.
Yeah, it's sad and it's difficult to explain to people that, but true love, lasting love, is actually kind of boring. There's not a lot of drama. You're not fighting, you're not
Mm,
having these high highs and these low lows. You're not
mm-hmm,
uh, going through lots of episodes and stuff. You've found somebody that accepts you completely, and you accept them completely, and
mm-hmm,
just kind of coexist. And it
mm-hmm.
may not be as passionate and exciting and thrilling as a trauma bond, but it's much healthier. And
Yes,
in the long run,
yes,
you'll live longer with somebody that you have acceptance for than you will with somebody who is exciting.
yes. That comes the principle or the belief that you have to be contented with yourself in the first place, because it gets boring. Whatever kinds of relationship you have, you start in a very high energy, euphoria, ecstasy, but it all goes down when after a few years. And then that's why if that's it's really very important that whatever happens, we're fine, alone or with someone else, that we are okay. We don't feel the need of being in a relationship to feel complete. But that is really, oh, no man is an island. You cannot live alone. Yes, you can. Because if you keep searching, if your definition of happiness is only to be with someone and depend on someone, you will always live with the fear of losing that someone. If you find that someone that makes you feel really great, what is the equivalence of that? The fear of, oh, what if I might lose someone? I cannot live without this person. That's a constant fear. But the fact is, even if our family, our kids, our partners, our parents, the fear of losing them, it's very serious. But we cannot decide when they gonna go.
Right. And, back to the childhood traumas, part of this formula, generally speaking, we look for other people. We look for things in other people that will help us resolve the relationships we had with our parents or our caregivers.
Mm,
Unconsciously, you are trying to fix your father or trying to fix your mother or trying to fix your aunt, cousins, uncles, grandparents, whoever it was that raised you. You're trying to fix those people and get the kind of love and affection that you want from them that you didn't get in your childhood.
mm-hmm.
And you can't get it from other people. That's something that if you didn't get it in childhood, you have to give it to yourself. Uh,
Yeah, that is really the main focus on this. Your recovery and my RTT process, it's really focused on your own, because no one else will be there for you. In times that you are down there, when you hit rock bottom, it's you and you alone.
Right.
Most of the time, think many people can relate to that. If you're on the bottom, you are lucky if someone will really be there 24/7 and really giving their life to pull you up. But I don't think so that will happen because everyone has, they have to think of their own lives as well. And when times that you are down there, that's why they say, oh, I've been good to people, and where are they when I hit rock bottom? Why I feel so alone? Because there we go again. Ask the right question. That is the moment that you really need to focus that in life you have to love yourself. It's only you that's always there for you all the time.
Yeah. And it's, if you had a difficult childhood, the more trauma that you accumulate in childhood, the more difficult it is going to be to build your self-esteem. That's just,
Mm-hmm.
there's a direct connection between those two things. And the more likely you are to have addictions and maladaptive behaviors, so and there's all kinds of different trauma. It can be physical abuse, spiritual, sexual, intellectual, many layers of those types of abuses too, because your parents don't necessarily have to hit you to be abusive. They could just ignore you. They could just say things sideways, acting like they're trying to help you out. They can say the most rude and harmful things imaginable because many people are passive aggressive,
Mm.
aggression disguised as caring. Um,
Yeah.
and so there's all these things to overcome. And if you go through life without addressing these issues, they're going to continue to crop up in some manner or fashion with a different name, a different face, a different disguise over and over and over. You're going to keep experiencing these things until you stop and change the behaviors that attract them into your life.
Yeah, that is very, very interesting. I have to share based on my own experience. When we experience abuse, the autopilot thing is to blame. Why is that person so bad and hurting me so bad? But then along my journey, understanding is really power. Understanding the person, whether it is your parent, your partner, your child, whoever it is. We have different level of perception where we are in life, different level of traumas we encountered during the period of our time. And then those people, they don't know better. And those people are your direct contact, direct relationship. And sad enough, if they are the most important people in your life and they give you that trauma, they give you that abuse, you blame. Why? Why? But I understood they did not know better. They did not know better.
Right.
They tried to do the best thing. They don't like it also to abuse you, to hurt you. But what I understood, they could not give what they don't have. That's all they understood about life, that they did not work on becoming the better version of themselves. So how can they treat other people better than how they treat themselves? That is what I have learned along my journey. That's why I like, okay, forgiveness is not for people to give them peace because some people don't value the forgiveness that you give them. Even if they don't ask forgiveness, you have to forgive them for your sake because some people, they don't realize that they have to ask forgiveness. So if you are hurt and then you feel hurt because those people did not ask forgiveness and they did not recognize their mistake, how they hurt you, what they did to you have to forgive them so that you can move forward. That's based on my own experience. Because if you stick to that pain and always, why they did it? I did not deserve this. Of course, you did not deserve it. But those people, they did not know better. That's why they were not able to give you the better treatment. Because if they say, what is in your cup? It's a cup of tea. If you bump into that person with a cup of tea, what spill out? It's not gonna be an orange juice. It's what they have in themselves. It's what they learn from their life. It's what they experience. So, and that is really crucial to really accept and not blame. Just like move forward. Because we are conditioned to do the autopilot thing. I'm this because of that. I'm this because of my parents who did not care. If I had a better parent, if I had a better husband, better wife, I would be better.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much I could say about that. One of the things you're talking about, the spillage of the tea, and how it's something that's within you. When you're in a relationship with somebody and they hurt you, first of all, they're not hurting you. You're hurting yourself. And it was
Exactly.
pain that you already had. They've exposed one of your traumas, because
Mm,
if you
right.
weren't traumatized, it wouldn't hurt. If somebody lied to you and it was the first time you'd ever been lied to, you'd be like, wow, that was weird. I've never experienced that before. Um, so, relatively speaking, when we're with a partner, first remember that you've attracted that person into your life, and that person is going to expose your triggers, and those triggers are for you to resolve, no one else. It's not their job to suddenly become more like what you want so that you can feel better about yourself. It's for you to take that trigger and dissect it and go, okay, well, this is my part in it. And forgiveness is two things. It's the end result of changing behavior, and it's accepting reality as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to
Yeah.
terms with reality and letting go of what we want for the sake of being peaceful. So uh, and another thing is growing up with people, and they say that addictions will skip generations, and I don't see that as being possible. I think that addictions mutate. So
Mm-hmm.
you might have had alcoholic grandparents, but then your genetic immediate parents, they might have sex addiction or gambling addiction, or they might be addicted to sweets or sleeping or television or any number of other things. Because just being exposed to people with addictions creates more addictions.
Yeah.
And addiction in logical terms, you have to understand that it's a narrowing of the field of things that give us gratification. So we're
Mm-hmm.
unbalanced people by nature. Addicts tend to hyper focus in a few number of areas of self-care and neglect all these other things. uh, and so, having a healthier, balanced life means doing uncomfortable things and learning how to have more balance. Maybe you're neglecting yourself spiritually or intellectually, and you know you need to add some schooling to your life. You need to add some community service to your life. Things like this will have profound effects on you, even though you've gone for many years without it.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Yes, that is really a lot to to absorb, Chef. It's really not in that one in a count of 1, 2, 3 that people understand that, but this is really amazing that we randomly talk about this. You said if you think someone is hurting you, it's not really it that you are hurting yourself. That's really very interesting that people should really think about that. Let it sink in, and why? Because people say, oh, how come he hurt me and he did it and that's why I'm hurt. There is a lot of things to process in there because it reminds me of someone. There is this someone, an inspirational speaker, like, I think Daylan James. I heard it from him that, no one can make you feel anything. No one, absolutely no one, unless you give them permission to. If you gonna agree, oh, you are nonsense, you are whatever, you screwed up in life, you are so bad, and then if you're gonna give them permission, you're gonna accept that, then you feel hurt. But if you know yourself very well and you know your worth, you know who you are, you're gonna think, no, it's fine. Your opinion doesn't matter because I know myself better than anyone else. It's fine. I respect your opinion. Is that what you think about me? That's fine. I'm not affected to what you think. Because, people, most of the time, what people think of us, of say to us, is a reflection of themselves, their trauma and whatever. That's why there's really a lot of process in there because it's not easy to accept that no, I'm hurting myself. I'm giving permission to these emotions to affect me, to those words to really triggered me. We gave permission. Otherwise, nothing could ever get into us.
Yeah,
That's why it's really very important.
and that's very difficult for people to grasp. I was at a 12-step meeting for codependency a number of years ago, and there was this very profound thing that I experienced. A woman was talking about her daughter and how her
Mm-hmm.
daughter got intoxicated and was outside and going to the bathroom in the bushes. And this woman was absolutely mortified by her daughter's drunken behavior. She
Mm-hmm.
she was in tears, she was screaming and crying and talking about how horrible it was. And she didn't need to experience any of those feelings because A, it wasn't her doing it. B, she wasn't even there. And C, that type of behavior is kind of normal for drunken people. Drunk
Mm-hmm.
people, your moral compass goes right down the tubes when you use drugs and alcohol. So doing things that you wouldn't do sober is fairly common. But this
Mm-hmm.
woman just could not get past how embarrassing it was that her daughter was behaving that way. And it had nothing to do with her. So, like we were saying before, she felt like her daughter was hurting her, disrespecting her, embarrassing her. It had nothing to do with her. She wasn't even a consideration. I'm positive of that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
she decided to hurt herself with those thoughts and feelings of how horrible it was that her daughter was behaving that way. Um, that's codependency for you. We take on other people's problems and own them like they're our
Mm-hmm.
own. And I guarantee that the woman felt far worse about it than her daughter ever will. Even when her daughter sobers up and takes accountability for her behavior, she's probably not going to feel as horrible about it as her mother did.
Yeah, that is again an autopilot thing. Like when the mother think, oh, my daughter is doing this and doing that. She was taking it personally, like unconsciously worrying about what the other people would think, what kind of a mother she is, that she could not raise a daughter, a model daughter. And I think, but that is very unconscious though. Think she might not accept that, but that is an autopilot thing. Oh, I am ashamed that my daughter is like that because I would not do it myself. So it's just taking it personally, like reflecting it. Oh, what a shame. It's a shame and guilt thing. And that yeah, that's her daughter, but that is still another person with her own personality, with her own way to take in life. And that is, again, the attachment between parent and the child. And that is, well, I'm not saying that just let it go in a count of 1, 2, 3, let it go, detach. But that is another word that I teach all my clients, detach. Because if you get into the opposite, which is attached, we are automatically attached with many things. You mentioned that before. We are human being and we are automatically attached of so many things.
Right.
But then we have to know
And
what to attach, the healthy attachment, which to choose.
exactly. An attachment is a choice that we don't realize we can make. And
Mm-hmm.
detachment is the healthy response to that. Because if I were to tell you that there was a planet somewhere in the Andromeda galaxy that was destroyed and all the living inhabitants died, it probably wouldn't have much impact on you. If I
Mm.
told you that your house was on fire today and everybody in it died, that would have a drastic impact on you because you're very attached to those people. You're not at all
Mm.
attached to somebody in another galaxy.
Yeah.
It's the other galaxy is actually far more tragic than what's happened in your home with a small number of people. But proportionately, you're going to feel the attachment that you have for your loved ones far more than you will for complete strangers. Detachment is being able to step back from both of those situations and remain peaceful and understand that
Mm-hmm.
this is, people struggle with the concept of God. God, when things go right, oh, thank God. When things go poorly, God, God, what's the expression? Works in strange ways.
Mm-hmm.
Well, realistically, to God, tragedy and comedy and all these things are the same. Anything that happens is just a happening. It's neither good or bad. It's just happening. The
Yes.
earth is a violent place. We have
Mm-hmm.
tornadoes, we have hurricanes, volcanoes, all these other, natural disasters that take lives every year. Those are
Mm-hmm.
tragedies, but in the world of God, they're just happenings. These are things that happen, and we take it personally, and so we suffer. And
Yeah, exactly. We are here to understand the thing because if we escape from the tragedy, there's still a purpose. So why is this happening and why is it that? And we always think of, oh, I am unfortunate, I'm unlucky, why I am here in this place. Like if you think it literally, oh, I am in this area with a lot of calamity, with a lot of natural disaster, I'm affected and I lost everything. But you know, as human, yeah, when it comes to God, we that is a very broad principle. I don't want to get into that because beliefs is relative. I have respect for people with different beliefs, but like, if we just have to focus on what we can do as anyway, we believe that we are created by the most powerful creator. So we have the power to make a choice. That alone make a choice, co-create what are you capable of in the given situation, how you navigate to make a better choice in life. We always have that, even at the worst given moments. I do believe it. I have a lot of examples, experiences that prove that you are not a tree. You are not stuck in one place. If something happened, you can make a choice. You can transfer to another place. You can do better. You have a lot of choices. Instead of crying and blaming, um, there is always a better way. But finding the better way, it will take you a lot of courage and strength and personal development to know yourself. Not to know the outside world, but to know yourself. What are you capable of? What can you do better in this situation? The fact that we are here, despite of all the traumas, all those experiences, all those people who hurt us, if you understand those, you must be thankful because if you look back, every event in life is a significant dot, a point. And if you look back, you connect it, it will take you to the understanding why you are here. What have you done to get into this point of your life? And that is really very interesting. And you will appreciate more instead of, oh, if I have a lot of money, if I will become rich, if I will have a better partner, I will be happier. Because that is a human instinct, like, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that, without knowing that we create our own situation in every given moment. It is the result of our decision making.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the basic concepts of Buddhism is that
Mm.
the entire universe, including human behaviors, is all cause and effect. You know, for
Right.
me to be here today speaking to you, I had to, without question, experience every other moment of my life. If one of those moments didn't fall into place, then I may have never met you, and
Yeah, that is exactly.
that's what.
That is, there is no coincidence. I do believe that everything is connected. Like I said, that event is a dot. And then comes another event that is a dot. And if you connect that, that will may create a beautiful picture. If you, oh, that's why I experienced this and experienced that, instead of blaming. Because if I have to count all the negative people in my life, all the pains, all the negative experience, I will be a human with full of hate. I'm gonna kill people.
Yeah, I know.
But I
I've been
choose
there.
not to, of course.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've been there, and I guess that
Yeah.
finding your true purpose in life is a combination of, being able to connect those dots, both the enjoyable and the painful ones, and finding some meaning in it. Being able to say,
Mm.
all of these things happened, including the painful things, to bring me here so that I could do this and expand on that and use it as an opportunity for growth instead of an excuse to complain and stay stuck. So now,
Yeah.
we've danced around it a lot. I never think to do this, but I wanted to try to do it on this episode. I wanted to plug the company. So a lot of the things that we're talking about here, the self-awareness can be developed. If you go to mixedrecovery.com under recovery services, there's a whole collection of what I call self-awareness tools. There are
Mm.
forms that you can fill out that'll help you determine, do you have codependency issues? What are your character defects and strengths? What are your resentments and how to process them? And it's the entire recovery process plus some bonus material, and how to become more self-aware and become aware of not only, what things are causing problems, but what are your strengths and what can you do about it. And one of the key factors in the recovery process is finding safe people to talk to. There's a handful of people listed on the website. Selena is our top producer right now. She's, very good with trauma issues, and I highly recommend her. So if you need somebody to talk to, just select her as one of the people you'd feel safe speaking to about your concerns, and I forward it to her or whoever else you choose. In fact, there's a slot where you can fill in. It doesn't even have to be somebody with our company. If you have a sponsor, if you have a religious or spiritual leader, anybody that you want to share your results with, just put their email address in there and we'll forward it to them. We will help you process your recovery with anybody you want. But the main thing I wanted to point out is it's mixedrecovery.com, and there's a full page of self-awareness tools and forms that you can fill out to begin your recovery. So that's what I had to say
Very
about that.
interesting. Mixedrecovery.com. Take a look at it, guys. There's a lot of, you can reach out to me and to Chef, and we are here. We are available. And every Sunday we have this show, it's very random, so it's not scripted. We just decide what sort of specific topic to talk about. But you see what the amount of values that we can talk about, the people can relate, is really amazing. And we are not making this up. It's based on our personal experience. So, and you are all welcome in our next episodes to be our guest, to share your story. We have a safe place for you to be yourself, to tell your story, and we can discuss about it. Every story is unique and special, nothing to be ashamed of. Just own it, because there is a reason why you have the story. And maybe we can help you understand why if you are still struggling to understand why you're experiencing this and you're experiencing that, and still having the difficulty to get out of it, to heal the trauma, to understand on how to get through, how to go farther with life, then we will do our best to we just tell our story, and who knows, we will find, we will work together and do the recovery together. That is easier.
Selena, are you familiar with Bashar's 7 steps for manifesting?
Say it again, Jeff.
Bash-
Seven.
is a philosopher by the name of Bashar, and
Ah,
he has this thing called the 7 steps of manifesting.
yeah. I was watching some Bashar, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That is very specific. Seven, but I did not hear about it, but I heard about him. He is really amazing. And whether it is 7 steps or whatever this is, I do believe that there are steps of manifesting. Maybe that's very interesting to talk about next episode.
that's what I was kind of leading to. I'll send you a copy of it. Uh, I'm sure it falls right in your philosophy. It's not going to be any surprise to you. It's just a different way of wording it, and
Mm,
because ultimately what people are looking for is, they're all looking for the satisfaction of attracting something better into their lives. And
mm.
so through this awareness of the fact that there's some actual genuine steps that you can take to improve what you're attracting into your life, that are proven, then maybe we could present that and talk about that. And
It's
you know
very interesting. He is really an amazing person. I've seen a few videos of him on YouTube and on TikTok, I guess.
yeah,
He is amazing. That is really very interesting. And just to clear things, yeah, Jeff and I agree on specific things. We we are open to any discussion, whatever beliefs you have, whatever religion you have, you are welcome and respected. And yeah, that is it is very important. And then it's not that we are teaching a certain way to believe and this is it and this is that. You can be yourself, and we do it randomly every time, but then always a lot of values that we can learn. So maybe that's for the next episode.
sounds
You
good.
can, as a reference, Bashar is really amazing.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there was a couple people that were going to join us, but they had some technical difficulties, so hopefully we can catch up with them next week. Thank you as always for the discussion. I think things went well this week, and hopefully somebody gets something out of this. So,
Of course. Of course, Jeff. Thank you so much also for your commitment to do it. I'm here. I love doing it. Just let's do this. Let's continue.
all right, great.
See you next Sunday.
All right, you have a blessed day.
Bye, and have a great Sunday for you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.